A lot of you guys have requested to do a video on what he eats, and we decided to do one. So as you saw in one of the previous videos, Kaiser is eating about 1 kilo's worth of chicken breast. Good boy. So what Kaiser eats is a mixture of things. He started off on the dog biscuits, so kibble or the dog pellets, since he was a puppy. So he started off with those, whether we mixed it with water or with milk or with stock. That's what he would eat as a puppy, and the brand that we use comes in different stages. So when he was a puppy, he had the puppy kibble. When he was around the age of 2 to around 5, he had the adult, and now he's on the 5+ adult maxi kibble. So that's what he has, and he actually really enjoys them. He looks forward to eating his dog biscuits. So those biscuits are given to him in the mornings. He gets around 2 to 3, maybe sometimes 4 cups worth, depending on, you know, how I think he's going or how hungry he is. So with that, he has that early in the morning. He goes to the bathroom, has his water, and nibbles on his biscuits. Dinner, that's a different story. Obviously, between the time he has his breakfast and the time he has his dinner, there's probably 10 to 12 hours. I leave some of the dog biscuits during the day for him to nibble on, because he can get peckish at times, because he is a very active and lean boy. But for dinner, Kaiser has a range of raw meats, all cooked. Cooked meats wise, it's really only boiled or charcoal barbecue chicken, and he loves chicken. He absolutely loves chicken. And that, again, the cooked version would be around 1 kilo's worth for dinner. He also has raw chicken, so this is mainly raw breast meat. And again, this will be around 1 kilo's worth for dinner. So what happens is he has a half dry biscuit and half raw meat diet. So as I mentioned, the mornings is his biscuits, and for dinner he has one of the variety of meats that I'm going to mention. For example, yesterday he had biscuits for breakfast, and he had 1 kilo of raw chicken meat, didn't you? So on a weekly, day-to-day basis, the main things that he always will have, and obviously we alternate the dinner meat accordingly. So he'll either have 1 kilo of cooked chicken, or he may have 1 kilo of raw chicken. He may have 1 kilo of raw beef or lamb, and thereabouts. So sometimes it can be, I'd say with the raw meat or the raw mince, when we're talking about beef or lamb, it's anywhere between 700 grams to 1 kilo. So I sort of look at what I think Kaiser is doing during the day, what he's eaten during the week, and I gauge to see how hungry he will be. And usually I'm correct, and if I'm not, I make sure I give him some more if he's still hungry. But he doesn't beg for food, so he's usually pretty content. Kaiser's diet has pretty much always been this way, followed this routine. So he's always been half kibble, half raw meat since the day he came home. In terms of the amount of meat, you change this according to your dog's weight. So when Kaiser was a puppy, he didn't get 1 kilo or 700 grams of raw meat. He probably only got a handful, so maybe 200, 300, 400 grams of raw meat for dinner. Again, it's based on your dog. With the mince, we give him human grade, so like we don't give him D grade mince or meat. We give him mince or meat that we would eat. Kaiser is a part of our family. He's not a dog. He is our little baby, and Kaiser's enjoying licking me right now, aren't you? So he gets proper meat. And because he gets proper meat that's for human, proper A-grade meat, it can be quite expensive. So that's something to consider when you're thinking about doing, whether you're going all raw meat diet or you're going half. Something to consider. There is no way that I would mix my kibble with my raw meat, because I just think that's disgusting. I know Kaiser picks out the dry biscuits out of his meat. It's just, I don't know, I don't think it will digest properly. And I'm not a vet or a nutritionist or anything, but I mean, I would not like to eat that mixture of food together, so I don't think Kaiser would. With his appetite, he's usually, I mean, with what we feed him, he's usually pretty good. He's content. There might be some days where I feed him less because he's just not that hungry. He gets funny, so sometimes he won't eat. And you know, he has to go to the bathroom first before he eats, or he has to have some activity before he eats. So he's very conscious of how much he's eating, believe it or not, and whether he is actually hungry. He's not a greedy guts. He will not go and steal food, or, you know, he'll always be content and full. He'll never be so hungry that he will go raiding through the bins or anything like that. So he's a good boy when it comes to that stuff, aren't you? So yeah, we sometimes give him, I'd say once or twice a month, the organ meat, so things like chicken livers, hearts, giblets, or beef or lamb hearts, liver, kidney, all those sorts of things, because they're just full of nutrients and they're full of some of the vitamins and minerals that the everyday meat or pellets don't have. And we also give him, what else do we give you? What else do we give you? Fish. He loves fish. He absolutely loves fish. He's looking at me while I'm saying fish. Even though chicken is his favorite meal, chicken's his favorite meal, he loves having whole sardines. So they're probably like that, or yellow fin, I think they're called fish. So there's the silver fish that are like that. And he could probably eat around, gosh, 10 to 12 in one seating, and he absolutely loves them. I don't debone them. He eats them as if he would eat them in the wild. So yeah, that's pretty much Kaiser's diet. Sometimes he gets some, you know, vegetables if we're having vegetables. He loves strawberries and blueberries, but that's pretty much his diet, isn't it? Chicken, as I mentioned, is his favorite. So something that is important, I think, is having food that is a comfort food for your dog. I know when I picked up Kaiser as a puppy, the breeder said his comfort food is cooked chicken with some cheese on top. So she did this because when puppies usually go to a new home, they can be anxious, they might not eat because of the new environment, or they might not like the foods. So something that they will always eat and they'll always find comfort in is cooked chicken and a bit of cheese. So we don't really do the whole cheese thing anymore, although Kaiser loves eating cheese. That's a different story. Cooked chicken is something that Kaiser loves, and maybe sometimes with a bit of rice. When he's not feeling too great, I mean, sometimes when he doesn't have an appetite, it's cooked chicken is his go-to. So having that comfort food, that main food that they'll always eat, is a bonus. But yeah, I hope that explains everything. And come here, little man, come here. I hope that explains his diet. As I mentioned, it's half-half. I'll write down a bit more in general, but usually, as I mentioned, it's Kaiser is around 40 kilos, so he usually gets around 700 grams to a kilo of meat for dinner, depending on which meat. But yeah. Thanks for watching, friends. Hope this helped you guys. As I mentioned, I'm not a vet, I'm not a nutritionist, but I just feed Kaiser what works for him. Have a great day or night, depending on where you're from, and hope you enjoyed.